So good evening to you all, and welcome to today's session. Maybe I can first of all get a confirmation if you can hear me, Nelson.
Yes, Chris.
All right, thanks, Nelson. So good evening once again, and welcome to today's session. That is on the County Fiscal Strategy Paper, or what we call the CFSP, and I'll be taking you through this session. For those who are maybe joining us for the first time, we've done so far 3 sessions. This is the 4th one. And I'm the budget facilitator from Nyandarua County. So I'll get to it. I know more people are joining in, but in the interest of time, I think I'll just proceed. Okay, give me a minute. I seem to have an issue with my slideshow. All right. I hope this is still visible. So again, for those who are joining us for the first time, we've done 3 sessions so far. The last session that was covered by my colleague Mary last week was on the county budget review and outlook paper. And as usual, we are going to start by doing a recap on the budget cycle so that we're able to know where we are. Let me just try to zoom this for you. I hope this is clearer. So again, basically, as we were taken through the first session by my colleague Anita, the budget cycle comprises of 4 stages. That is the formulation stage, which in this coil that we normally use is in the color blue. Then the second stage is approval in green, and the third stage is implementation in yellow, and finally the last stage is audit, which is in red. But what is important for us is to know where we are right now. So we are still in the formulation stage. All this far that we have come, we're still in the formulation stage. And if you are able to look keenly, remember we said the budget processes start normally after this, the circular that is given first of all from National Treasury to the county treasuries, and then now from the county treasuries to the departments. And then from there, we prepare the county annual development plan in September. And that session was done by, again, one of my colleagues. And then from the annual development plan, we again proceed to the budget review and outlook papers at the national and at the county levels. And then now from there, that is where we are picking from, now we progress to the document that we are going to be covering today, which is the County Fiscal Strategy Paper. So if you're able to look at the calendar well, you should see the CFSP comes around February 15. I don't know if it's visible for you. So it comes around there, February 28, and then March 14. But we will be talking about those dates in a short while. So after the formulation stage, after this session, still as part of the formulation stage, again, one of my colleagues will be covering the next document, which is the budget estimates, still coming around April 30th. And then thereafter, the document goes to the county assembly, the budget estimates for approval. And then after approval, then that is when we get to implement, starting July 1st, going again a full cycle all the way to June 30th. And then, of course, finally, we get to have the auditing happening. So that is all about the budget cycle recap. Now, to move into today's agenda, let me zoom out. Okay. So basically, I say today we are covering the County Fiscal Strategy Paper, and these are the objectives, or this is the content that we will be focusing on today. So one is, of course, an introduction on what the County Fiscal Strategy Paper is, and then we're also going to look at what linkage it has to one, the budget policy statement, and then two, to the county budget review and outlook paper that was covered last week. And then we're also going to be looking at the legal basis for this document, its timelines, most important, its components, and also how do we analyze it so that we're able to influence it as citizens. So I'll get to it. So the County Fiscal Strategy Paper, or what we are calling the CFSP, is a very key budget document that basically outlines a county's broad strategic priorities and policy goals. And basically these two are what normally guide the county departments in preparing their budgets for the upcoming financial year. So, and it does this by doing two things, as we are going to see. One is analyzing the past budget or the past financial year, and also partly the present financial year. And then with this analysis, this document is able to guide future decisions that will be made. But most important, the CFSP answers two key questions. So question number one is, what is the overall size of the budget? So that is very key to note. So what is the size of the budget? And then now two, once we have known the size of the budget, how is this budget going to be distributed across the departments? So if there's something we need to get out of this is, in as far as this document is concerned, those are the two main questions or the two main things that come out of this document: the overall size of the budget and the distribution against, across the departments. And then most important thing also to note is this document basically forms a basis for the budget estimates, which now will come next after this. So that is all about the introduction. Now, how is the County Fiscal Strategy Paper, how is it linked to the budget policy statement and the county budget review and outlook paper? So before we get to see that, two things. Budget policy statement ni nini? So the budget policy statement is the fiscal strategy paper at the national level. So the way we are saying we have the CFSP, you know, the C in the CFSP is for the county. Now, this budget policy statement is now the national fiscal strategy paper. And then, of course, we talked about the county budget review and outlook paper last week. Now, the question I know most of you may be asking is, then what is the linkage between these two documents and the CFSP? So this is how these two documents link. One, the budget policy statement, as I've said, is now the national fiscal strategy paper. And as you'll note in the calendar that we were referring, and it is also shared in the WhatsApp group, it is also prepared around the same time. But now for the budget policy statement, it outlines many things, but the most relevant in this context is up until tutaona the county government's budget allocations. So remember, this is the national document. So one of the things that it is communicating or giving guidance on is the lump sum that will be going into the county governments, and also now the specifics or the specific amounts that will be coming now in terms of what we call equitable share that will be coming now to specific counties. For example, now in this case, my county Nyandarua, or Marsabit, and all the other the 47 counties together. So the linkage then comes based on this, then the county fiscal strategy paper must align with the budget policy statement. Why is that important? Simple that so that there is no contradiction between now the national policy and now the CFSP. You know, maybe kama allocation yenye inatoka equitable share, then that is what exactly from the national level is what should reflect in the CFSP. Now coming to the other document, the county budget review and outlook paper, the linkage again, as we saw from the session last week, is, remember what Mary told us, that the CBROP is doing two things. One, it is giving us a review of the performance of the previous financial year, but also it is also establishing provisional ceilings. That is what we learned from the last session. So kwa hii CBROP kuna provisional ceilings. We will be learning about the ceilings in a short while. But this performance, you know, the performance of the previous year is going to help us in now setting projections for the coming year. And then the provisional ceilings that now were set in the CBROP is what now will come to be referenced and used in the county fiscal strategy paper. So that is the linkage. So we move to the legal basis now. So what is the legal basis for the preparation of this document and its timeline? So the county fiscal strategy paper, like all other documents, is of course prepared accordance with the Public Finance Management Act 2012. So for it, that is section 117. And some of the key highlights to note from this is in the preparation of the CFSP, the county treasury will prepare it and then submit it to the CEC. The CEC will approve it, and then now this CFSP should be presented or tabled to the county assembly by the 28th of February of each year. So that is a very key timeline or deadline that we should note. So once it is tabled to the assembly by 28th of February, again, the county treasury is expected to make this document public or available to the public within 7 days. Within 7 days. And then while it is now to the county assembly now in turn has 14 days that it has to consider and adopt this document with or without amendments. So I hope that is clear, but just to emphasize a couple of things. One, the county fiscal strategy paper is among the budget documents that are coming to us as the public for public participation. So it is worth for us to note that you know these documents this document is coming to the public for public participation, and this public participation is actually being done by both the county executive and that is now the county executive and the county assembly. So I don't know if either some of us have had the opportunity to attend public participation for this document. Maybe if you have, you can feel free to share your experience just in the chat box. But maybe from my experience, what I will say is the county assembly and the county executive getting to do this public participation for this document kind of has its own, let me say, challenges. One, remember, by the time the county executive first of all gets to do the public participation, and then when it is done, probably we'll have different people attending this one, compared to again when the county assembly gets to do the same public participation. So I think somewhere because of that duplication, there is that challenge. And then also another challenge with the public is there seems to be a confusion or the public not getting to know the difference between the annual development plan, which was covered earlier, and now the county fiscal strategy. I am saying this because you'll get in public participation for this document. I don't know if some of you have experienced this, those who have been part of these processes. You'll find when the public are coming to the public participation for CFSP, they come and give, maybe raise issues around what they want to be done, which ideally at community level, which ideally should have happened at the annual development plan, maybe public participation and the whole process of its preparation. So that is it. But also another thing to note is we are saying the county assembly has 14 days, after imepelekewa hii document by the county executive, whether to consider it with or without amendments. But remember, within these 14 days, wanafaa wapitie hii CFSP, wanafaa wafanye public participation, and I think on their end that comes as a challenge. Maybe that timeline is a short timeline. So that is it. We move on to the next slide. So now moving on to the next slide, the other key objective of this session is for us to understand what does the CFSP, what does it entail, or what are its components. So we normally say the CFSP as a document comprises of 4 key components, which we normally just refer to as the 3 Ps and 1 C. The 3 Ps and 1 C. And as you can see, the 3 Ps are there already. So the first P is performance, then the second P is priorities, and then the third P is projections, and finally now the C in this case is the ceiling. So I know the next part, of course, is for us to understand in detail what they all entail. So I'll come to the first P. Now this is the performance. So what exactly is the performance that we're talking about? So when we say performance, this is information on budget performance for the previous financial year and the first 6 months of the current financial year. So I don't know, before I progress, maybe the question I would ask and we can respond in the chat box is, we need to understand, for instance, what financial year are we in currently? What is the current financial year? And then if we know the current financial year, then again, what is the previous financial year? So that we're able to get that that part. What is the current financial year? You can just reply via the chat box. Yeah. So yeah, exactly. We are in the financial year 2025-2026. So that means when we are looking at the CFSP in this case, we will be looking at the performance for the current financial 6 months of 25-26, and then we will be looking back the previous financial year that just ended, which is now 2024-2025. So those are the key things we are looking at. And what are we looking at here? So one, we are looking at data to show us in terms of revenue, how did we perform the last revenue and expenditure? How did we perform the last financial year? And then the first 6 months of the current financial year. So remember, the financial year starts in July. So that means we will be looking at the performance between July to December. That is now the first 6 months. And this is important so that we can be able to make decisions about what is realistic going forward. So for example, based on the performance that we did, let's say the first 6, we will be looking at what the county government are targeted to collect this financial year, and so far within these 6 months, how was it performed? Then that we were able to see, are we on track towards maybe achieving the target that we had set in terms of the money that we're going to collect. And then the other thing is, we're also going to be looking at the departments. So maybe there is agriculture department, there is health department, and all of them, they have different allocations that have been given towards them. So we'll be looking to see, ile pesa yenye ilipewa agriculture as a department, how much have they been able to spend? Ile pesa ilipewa health department, how much have they been able to spend? And this is important because now this kind of absorption will tell us if they're actually spending the money that they were given. So that is key to note. So I want to move to the next slide, but maybe something else to add here is we will also be looking at the department, the expenses. And when we're looking at expenses, we're looking at both the recurrent and the development. How much has actually been spent on recurrent budget? The recurrent is what is being used to pay maybe salaries, and then the development now, the projects that have been planned maybe under agriculture department, under health department, and so on and so forth. So the next slide. Now, with this next slide, we are going to try and look at an example from Nyandarua. So for this session, we are using the Nyandarua CFSP as our case study. So if you look at these extracts that we've gotten now from the Nyandarua CFSP for 2024, for 25-26, you will see this is how Nyandarua county government performed within the first half in terms of revenue. So you can see here the target, what they are expecting from the national government as equitable share is 6.1 billion. And they're telling us within the first 6 months, July to December, they received 2.9 billion, which is some 47%. If we're talking about local collections, that is on-source revenue, the target is 600 million. And as you can see, within the 6 months, they have collected 130 million. So the question now to the public, even when this document is coming, is to see, for example, if you are a citizen of Nyandarua, will you say the county government is on track to achieve that target of local collections, or will you say it is off target? Maybe we can respond via the chat. So the target is 600 million, but we've collected 130 million within 6 months. Will you say we are on track to collect, to hit the target? Stephen is saying off target. John is also saying the same, Willie. Okay, so you get the point. So by just looking at this, you can tell whether we're on track or not. So now this is where now we get to ask questions. Why have we collected just 130 million and the target was 600 million? Maybe it could be the target that was set was not realistic. Maybe it could be most of the money that the county is expecting to collect maybe will be coming in the second half of the financial year, and so on and so forth. Then you can see on the Facility Improvement Fund. So this FIF is normally the money that is coming or being collected through the health facilities. So you can see the county government had targeted to collect 250 million. Within 6 months, they have collected 111 million. So what about that one? Will you say the county is on track or off track on that one? Yes, on track. So you get the point. So that is how you get to see how the county is performing. So if you come to, again, you can see conditional grant, they were expecting almost 1.5 billion, but you can see within the first 6 months, they are not been able to collect. So that is how we look at the performance. And then of course the other graph, that is the graph just showing us now in terms of a graphical representation how this reflects. So that is it. Let's see. So this is general. Remember, this is general performance. But the CFSP should also proceed now to give us the revenue performance by stream. So by stream, I mean, sasa tukikuja kwa health services, tunaweza ona under health services, let's get a breakdown. So you can see, for example, in Nyandarua, the county government was expecting to collect 160 million from JM Hospital. Engineer Hospital, they're expecting to collect 40 million. And then other health facilities, they're expecting to collect 43.5 million. So now you can be able to track. Can you see, you can be able now to track the money that has been collected per month. So you can see in July, they collected 1.1 million. In August, they collected, that is on JM Hospital. Against the JM Hospital, July 1.1 million, August 28 million, September 15 million, all the way now to December. And now you can see the total at the end, that within these 6 months, from JM Hospital, this is the amount that was collected, some 85 million. So you can now go ahead and follow all the other departments and the specific revenue streams. So underwater, environment, climate change, and natural resources, you can see again all the other streams. There is dumping fee, there is park entrance fee, there is borehole drilling. So you can see all targets, and then you can also see equally what the county government has been able to collect every month, and now the total for the 6 months in each of these streams. So I'll move to the next slide. That was on revenue. So the other performance now we look at is on expenditure. So we've seen revenue. So the other thing now we want to see the money that the county government has got within now easy 6 months. Imetumiwa aje. So you can see here the general performance. The county government expected to the budget for recurrent budget is 4.5 billion, and then within 6 months they have been able to utilize 2 billion, which is some 45%. Look at development. 2.9 billion is what is supposed to be used. Within 6 months, they have used 306 million. Do you note that is very low? So why would you think in this case, maybe the difference? And maybe as a citizen of your county, maybe this is where you get to ask questions. Maybe why are we seeing the current budget absorption is almost at half, but ukiangalia development, we are at 10% and 6 months are already gone. So maybe those are some of the questions now to ask. But again, you can again equally get to see the performance in terms of department. So on the other image, you can see, for example, each department, the amount they're supposed is, to utilize in this financial year and what they have utilized within 6 months. So for example, if you look at finance, economic planning, and ICT, their budget is 662 million, and already within 6 months, they have used 551 million, which is some 83%. So maybe these are some of the interesting areas again to ask. Within 6 months, why have we been able to utilize 83%? Look at health services, 724 million, we have used 147 million, which is 20%. So now this is where you actually track to see, because remember, health is a very key service. So if 20% has been utilized, maybe this is part of the area we are supposed to ask questions, why this amount has just been used. Look at education, the Department of Education, Children, Gender Affairs, Social Services. The budget is to 235 million. The amount that has been used is 31 million. So you can be able to see. So I don't know which is the department that we can note that has the lowest budget absorption. Maybe you can just reply via the chat box. The department with the lowest absorption. Yeah, good. So lands. So we can all notice it's the Department of Lands, Physical Planning, and Urban Development. So this is where you get to ask again questions. Why the 4%? But if you are from Nyandarua like myself, then also you'll have concern with agriculture. So, you know, Nyandarua as a county is an agricultural county. So if the budget is 566 million and we have only utilized 9%, maybe again, this is somewhere we ask questions. So that is it for on that. We move to the next slide. So again, the same expenditure, you can go into details. Uangalie expenditure. Remember expenditure, we have the recurrent expenditure, the money that is going maybe into paying salaries, and all recurring county departmental needs. And then there is the development budget. So again, in this case, you can now actually trace the money and see how much has actually been absorbed for recurrent and how much has been absorbed for development. So again, if you look at, let me try to look for an example here. Look at maybe something like tourism. The Department of Tourism, Industrialization, Cooperative Development, Trade. So some 55 against, look at what has been approved as recurrent is 55 million. They have used 27 million, which is 50%. Kuja kwa development in the same department. Development has 426 million, 426 million, but they have only used 25 million. So again, this is where you get to ask those questions. Why are we having only such a small amount that has been utilized going into development? Yet, you see, you can see on recurrent, we are on track. So that is it about our performance. I hope that is clear. So the next P is projections. So projections, we have seen performance. So with projections, we are now trying to based on the way you've performed, we are coming up with the money that we're going to use in terms of revenue that we need to raise and the expenditure that we need for the next financial year. So we are projecting. So this means we need to have a projection on what money, for example, is Nyandarua County government expecting from the national government? What money is it now going to target based on its performance to collect in the next financial year? Is there any money that it is getting as conditional grants from the national government? And then for those counties that normally receive what we call the equalization fund, what are they expecting to receive? So projection is, that is what our projection is like. So again, an example from Nyandarua, you can see. So the current financial year is here, but now for, that is financial year 24-25, you can see the budget, but now what we are projecting for 25-26. So for equitable share, 24-25, we got 6.1 billion. What are we expecting to, what have we projected for 25-26? Maybe we can reply via the chat box. What is the equitable share for Nyandarua for 25-26? Okay, yeah, I think we are noting. Thanks, Willie. Thanks, Florence. It is 6.1 billion. Look at the local collections, that is on-source revenue. You can see the current 24-25, 600 million. Then for 25-26, we have projected to collect. We have decided to retain that amount, and maybe there are valid reasons. Maybe the county government has noted they have not been able to collect very well, even the target for the current financial year. So they have decided to retain that same target. And then for the FIF, you can see there again the 250 million for 24-25, and then the projection now for the other financial year is some 200 million. And you can go on and on up to the conditional loans and grants and so on. So that is it about the projections. I'll move to the next slide. So the next slide is now the third P. So we have done 2 Ps. The final P is priorities. So, and this is very important. So something else that the CFSP must cover is the priorities. So what is it the county government prioritizing to do in this current year? We need to see, so priorities, how do you think we are going to see the priorities in the CFSP? So maybe it could be we are looking at the allocations. Maybe in the department gani ndo imepewa, maybe the top 5, you can look at allocations. What are the top 5 allocations? But also another way we can know what the county government is prioritizing is maybe if we compare the departmental allocations from the current year to the other one, we can be able to see maybe kuna department imeongezewa. Maybe health ilikuwa imepewa 700 million, but hii mwaka tunaenda imeongezewa maybe imepewa 800 million. So that also can show us that this is a priority to the county government. But what is important to note is priorities must align with the county development plan. So in this case, the county integrated development plan and the annual development plan that were discussed earlier. And then also something else to note is also now the input that we have given as the public, what we are telling the county government to do. So an example on priorities from Nyandarua is here. So if you go to the CFSP in Nyandarua, you will see, for example, you can see these extracts. The Office of the Governor will receive 125 million, and then they have given an explanation why that is a priority. 62 million will go into service delivery coordination, 12.5 million will go into the press services, and so on and so forth. 6.5 million will go into special programs and diaspora affairs, and then 6 million will go into public participation and civic education. So kama hapa, as citizens, maybe this is where you get to ask questions. Maybe hii 6 million yenye imewekwa kwa mambo ya public participation and civic education, is it really enough to cater for that? So this is when you are even able to say maybe this amount should be increased and so on. Look at health. Can we see health services? Health services as 705 million that has been allocated. So you see the breakdown. Katika hiyo 705 million, you can see 82.4 million is going into community health units. Some 340 million is going into a curative program. Na katika hiyo amount tena kuna breakdown. 70 million itaenda kwa strategic stocks. So maybe hapa ndio kunanunuliwa, the medicines that are coming to the facilities, and so on and so forth. So this is an example of priorities that we should be able to see an explanation in terms of why the county government is prioritizing this particular department. So that is, we are done with the 3 Ps. Now we move on to the C. The C is ceiling. So when you think about ceiling, in the context of a house, ceiling is the limit going up. So now in financial context or in public finance context, the ceiling now means this is the maximum amount that has been set. So for example, if the ceiling for health department is some 800 million, then that means the health department can plan for so many things that it is going to do under health, but it cannot exceed 800 million. Kama roads department imepewa 1 billion, then they can plan so many things they are going to do, in terms of infrastructure and so on, but they cannot exceed that amount. So that is it about the ceiling. So that means for us, we have different interests in terms of sectors. So if you're somebody who is interested in the health sector, you need to be very keen on the ceiling for health, because once it is said here, as we move into the next document, then maybe that means if what you are advocating for in your county has not been considered, and then maybe it's going to be a challenge for you to even advocate for your areas of interest or your specific programs in the budget estimates that will be coming up next. So it is very important for us to note here. Maybe I know the question some people may have is, what is the criteria that is used to determine the ceiling? So the ceiling is basically determined by maybe the historical allocations that have already been going into these departments. And then we also have at national level for the budget policy statement, we have what we call sector working groups that will now inform the ceilings. So that is it about the ceiling. And again, an example from Nyandarua, you can see the budget for the approved budget for the current year. You can see there, and then now look at this proposed ceilings for the upcoming financial year. Kama Office of the Governor, ilikuwa imepewa 120 million in the current financial year. Ceiling yenye imewekwa for the upcoming financial year is 125 million. Kuja department kama agriculture. Can we see agriculture? What is the ceiling that has been set for agriculture department? Maybe we can write that in the chat box. agriculture, livestock, and fisheries. Yeah, good. I can see we are responding. So we cannot. It is, yes, it is 568 million. So so you can go on and on and on. Look at every department. Hizo municipalities zenye tuko nazo, we have Olkalau municipality, Mairoinya municipality, Engineer municipality, and you can see their ceilings and so on. So the key takeaways, so that we can proceed to our breakout rooms in the interest of time. So we've learned so much on the CFSP, but what is important to note is out of all that we've said, or out of all that we've covered, the two key highlights for us as citizens is one, the CFSP gives us room for transparency and accountability as citizens. Because hapa ndio tunaweza uliza maswali in terms of the money, the revenue that we are collecting in our counties. Are we doing well? If we're not doing well, why? You know, kama ni absorption ya department, health department, agriculture department, you know, how is the absorption? Kwenye tunaona absorption iko low, we are able to raise questions and so on. But finally, also very key, the CFSP is a very important budget document for us as citizens to influence on our priorities. So wakati kuna public participation ya County Fiscal Strategy Paper, this is where we have the opportunity to shape the priorities of the county and ensure that the right departments, the right sectors actually get the resources that they deserve. So this is where we go and ensure that if it is the health department, if we have health concerns in our county, that it has actually gotten the allocation that is adequate, so that even as we go into the budget estimates, the planning is going to be easy going into various programs. So that is it for now. We are supposed to go into our breakout rooms. So at this point, I want to hand it over to Nelson. Nelson lead us into the breakouts, and then I'll project the questions that we will refer in the breakout rooms, and then I will come back and wrap up.
Thanks, Chris. So looking at the time, we don't have a lot, but for those in the WhatsApp group, the questions were also shared there, so you'll be able to have a facilitator with you guys, and then the questions you'll try and attempt, well, as many as you can with the time you have, but I'll create the WhatsApp group and not the breakout groups right now.
Welcome back, everybody. I hope we have been able to, I know time was not so much on our side, but I hope we've been able to at least respond, if not to all, to at least some of the questions. And I know some people were asking some questions, like in my group. I'll respond to the last question that was asked. If you still have any question, kindly feel free to just type it in the chat box, and then myself and my colleagues will be responding. So somebody had asked in breakout room 1, somebody had asked about when is the right time to engage in the CFSP in its preparation. So remember, we said the county government will normally prepare it and then take it, have it tabled in the county assembly by 28th of February. So I think it is key when the county government is doing its public participation for the CFSP. I think that is the first and key part that we have to be involved, so that we are able to ensure now we have our concerns, our priorities have been factored into the CFSP. By the time in our county assembly, then it is easy now to follow up on our asks. But if we wait, the executive has taken it to the county assembly, and maybe we've not been able to influence our priorities earlier during the public participation by the executive, then maybe it may be a challenge to have them factored in. I hope that is clear. Any other question? I know time is not on our side.
So Chris, maybe any other question, they can utilize the WhatsApp group.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. So just
All
because
right.
we leave the WhatsApp group open.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Nelson. So I think at this point I can wrap up. I hope it has been clear to all of you. You've learned about the CFSP, and we'll keep the discussion going on, like Nelson is saying in the WhatsApp group. Feel free to ask questions. And then most important, remember when there's public participation for the CFSP, kindly take it as an opportunity to influence the priorities you want factored in your counties. Otherwise, thank you for your time. I see some people asking about the presentation. Yes, as usual, we will be sharing the same. Thanks, and good evening to you all.
Thanks, Chris. So maybe you can stop share the screen kidogo. So thank you everyone. So asanteni sana for joining in. I think, so Chris, maybe stop sharing the screen kidogo. Okay. So I feel we are doing well. We are still now with our eight sessions. We are about halfway. And as you can see in your screen, we've now covered, we are coming towards the end of what we call the formulation stage. So remember, you started here in September 1st with your ADP. And that's where you have all your projects and programs that you want to do in that financial year. They must be captured here. And the key thing here is that what is not in this plan will not be budgeted for. And then you are taken through what we call the county budget review and outlook paper, which basically does that. It reviews the past financial year, gives you a projection of the coming financial year, and it's an information document that helps you to make decisions. And then today you're able to cover what we call the County Fiscal Strategy Paper. And this is what technically colleagues in the county call the budget, because it sets the, like Chris said, it sets the entire size of the budget. At this point, you know the entire size of the budget because you know how much will come to your county from National Treasury. And then the key thing with this document, it sets the final ceilings per department. And so next week, what you'll be covering is the last stage, the last document in this stage, which is the budget estimates. So once a department is told, so wewe health uko na 3 billion, agriculture uko na 1 billion by the CFSP because it's approved by assembly here and they set the final ceilings. Then what happens is every department is told, now go take the money you've been allocated, and then you prepare what we call programs, sub-programs, and what we call now program-based budgets or budget estimates. So next session, you will be here with the budget estimates, and then that will call it. So you can see the formulation stage is the largest stage, and it has one of the most key documents, key number of documents for us. So I hope you keep looking at this cycle. It will help you to understand and bring everything, together. So asanteni sana. I'll stop here just to say asante sana for all of you joining in. Thanks for Chris taking us through today. Thanks for our colleagues who were able to hold fort in the breakout sessions. Thank you to Aunt Tracy here, who's been able to, cover our brothers and sisters who need her services. And to all of you, asanteni sana. Let's keep this going. Like I said, we can have the questions that you have. You can actually raise them in the WhatsApp group that we've created, and then we'll be able to answer that there. So from us, asanteni sana. See you next week, God willing. Asanteni. Bye-bye.